Okay, hey, Genesis Conference. I'm Pastor Jen. I'm the lead pastor of Cvfree Church here in Norwich. We are excited to bring to you different ways that we have been reaching people for Jesus in this new season. And so I'd like to start by introducing our team. First, we have John.
Hi, I'm Pastor Jim. I'm the worship leader here at Cvfree, the former prayer pastor.
And I'm Pastor Ariel. I was serving as the worship pastor here at Cvfree, and I'm transitioning to leading the Tonawanda Church.
Hi, friends. I'm Pastor Jamie, and I am the Family Ministries pastor.
I'm Pastor Kathy, and I'm operations pastor here at Cvfree Church.
Hey, Genesis Conference, Pastor Charles here. I am the discipleship pastor.
Hello, I'm Tyler, and I help run online church.
Hi, and I'm Drew Westerwell, and I help out with online tech. So we, on a typical Sunday, stream on YouTube, Facebook, and we embed our YouTube on Church Online. So we have 3 different platforms that we use to help reach people that want to watch church on Sundays.
Could you just tell us, you mentioned we embed Church Online. How do we do that?
So basically, we just take an embed code that we use from YouTube, and we import it into our Church Online software, and so that way we can have a more interactive experience on Church Online.
Through our website?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. And Tyler, could you pick that up for us?
Okay, so if any of our congregates are on Facebook, we really do encourage them to go to the Church Online because, as Drew mentioned, that's just more interactive. Aside from the typical hellos, good mornings, and how are yous, there's a number of things tools that we have from our hosting site to make that experience more interactive for the congregation. One of the things we can do is post a private prayer request, and if anyone watching would like to speak with the host to request private prayer, they just click on that, and it connects them to a host, and that's communicated one-on-one. We also have a link for online giving, and if you click that, it just takes them to the website where they can enter whatever amount they want, and that goes to either the tithe or whatever other donation they dictate it goes towards. And we also have a link for a Connect card where congregates can update their contact information, request private prayer or raise praises, and dictate that they would like to attend a certain growth group or get baptized or learn more about one of those things.
Tyler, do you also find the YouVersion Bible app is helpful for people?
Yes, so that's another thing we include on the online host site. We just drop the link for them to go to the YouVersion Bible app, and they can access a sheet of essentially notes about the message and follow along.
And Tyler, would you say that there are also times during, for example, the message when there might be commentary where there's a back and forth? Could you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so if there's something that particularly resonates with one of the congregates, they can do a little reaction and send up praise hands, or they can just write a comment and write something out. We have a lot of people saying amen when we're doing a certain song, or if Pastor Jen makes a really good point. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyler. And Charlie, could you tell us a bit about visitation and discipleship?
Well, I'm sure you're all aware, Conference, of Connect cards, but you're also aware of the vital importance of them and the information they contain, from baptism to growing and serving needs to also prayer. I have the great pleasure of overseeing those Connect cards and making sure they are dispersed to the right leads or groups and that we are executing on those needs in a timely manner. That being said, it is also important to maintain accurate records. Right now, our church is transferring all our paper data into one database called Planning Center, and this is going to ensure we have accurate information on our attendees, our members, and our non-members alike, and that we are following through between visiting them on a regular basis, sending cards out to them, and making sure their needs are being met, not only spiritually, but any life needs they might have as well.
And Charlie, can you tell us a little bit about how we've utilized technology to enhance communication even among the different groups that exist?
Well, right now myself, I'm using probably 4 different platforms between Facebook, Google Meet, Zoom, email, text messaging. I probably talk to between 30 and 50 people on a regular basis a day, and that number increases depending on our leadership positions and what we're involved with. But right now, because of COVID, it is absolutely vital that we are communicating with each other, that we are meeting our goals in a timely manner and reaching out to people who absolutely need it.
Awesome. So speaking of which, Drew, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about Discord.
Yeah, so Discord is what we used for our production team. And Discord is basically a messaging app, and it is used to communicate, of course, but it is meant for the younger generations. And so it's a quick, easy way to just talk with each other and make sure that we can communicate on a regular basis.
And the production tech team is currently using that?
Yes.
Great. Thanks, Drew. And so, Charlie, back to you. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about growth groups.
Yep, right now I'm happy to say we have 7 growth groups ongoing in person, and also due to COVID, we've also had to make adjustments online. And recently we just completed an informal study on the Gospel of John, in which we've had 120 people take part in it. I want to encourage you, conference, that just because everybody is not participating, it does not mean they are not viewing it. I've had several people come up to me in person and tell me, how wonderful it is to see the gospel being spread online and how inspired they are to be able to understand it, as I've been using commentaries to help explain certain aspects of it.
And along with that, Charlie, isn't it the case that we have offered a Google Meet call-in option as well for the majority of our growth groups?
Yep, that is correct. So people who not only are struggling with COVID, but also live a great distance, such as myself, it is a great thing that we are able to call in and still be a part of groups no matter where we are in the world.
Thank you. And so, Kathy, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about the idea of the Red Letter Challenge.
Sure. So Red Letter Challenge was a sermon series that we began in January of this year, And what was really interesting about Red Letter Challenge is we were able to connect it with our growth groups, not only our in-person growth groups, but also our online ones. And it really brought the church together. We were also able to connect it with our Flashpoint, which is one of our growth groups that Pastor Jamie will mention in a few. And it really just we were able to connect each other, even though we were far away. Like Pastor Charlie said, maybe we were at home, but we were able to all be together and really be able to dive into the Red Letter Challenge and using multimedia to do that also.
So it was really a cohesive theme that reached people. And as I recall, well, of course I know, we also did an assessment that people could take through that. And that really invited people to be reflective too. So about themselves, about our church, and that's been a springboard for a larger conversation. So thanks for bringing that to light. Jamie, I wonder if you'd let us into the world of family ministries.
Yes. So during the time of lockdown where we were not meeting in person, we had the Family 5, which was the first 5 minutes of the sermon focused on families. So it was more like an object lesson that went along with whoever was preaching's message, more simplified, easier for the kiddos to understand and engage them as well. And in person, now that we are meeting in person, we have JAM, Jesus and Me, which is our birth through 6th grade, and that is during our worship services. We also offer Flashpoint, which is our youth group from 6th grade to 12th grade. And we have had to also get a little tech savvy and get online with those groups as well, so we can reach all of the people who are still not yet in person with us. We have gone live for Flashpoint for people to attend that way on Facebook Live. as well as our Facebook group and posts and reflections. And the JAM has a Facebook group as well, where we have the lessons available that the kiddos are learning during our worship service, but they're also available online for our families. And if they are participating online, we have home boxes that they can either pick up or have mailed to them that go along with the lessons they're learning throughout the month. And we have one more offering, which is the family experience, which is monthly, and all of the family comes together and learns and worships and does all of these things. It is in person, and the families will stay together, socially distanced from everybody, so that it's safe for everybody to attend, but all ages and phases of life can be together.
And Jamie, I know we've talked about how in the midst of COVID, we used to hold youth group at the school, and that option was removed. Could you tell us just a little bit about how the experience has been with the group that we've had? I mean, we know that it's challenging for them to invite their friends to come to youth group because they may not be seeing their friends if they're not going to school consistently. How have the youth responded to things like protocols with masks and social distancing?
So it has been challenging because we have some kiddos who have transitioned to fully virtual learning or homeschooling, and so they aren't able to invite their friends like they used to, like, hey, come meet me after school, because things are a little bit different this year. However, we have had kiddos who are coming and still able to invite people if they choose, and they have been very responsible with wearing their masks and social distancing and sanitizing and all of the protocols that we have to keep everybody safe. I have been really impressed with the youth being very responsible.
And I know another thing that you mentioned earlier when we were talking is that the community-based approach has been really great, even coming alongside other Bible-believing preaching churches and inviting some of their leadership to take part in this community youth group.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, Jamie, thanks so much for your great work. Ariel, could you take us into worship a bit and how we were reaching people for Jesus with worship?
Yeah, so as many worship leaders experienced at the onset of the lockdown, it was really hard to overcome that hurdle of wanting to lead corporate worship when it's just you and a camera, right? And so it's hard to still have that sense of community and singing together. And so our approach initially was to just roll with it and encourage and equip people to get comfortable worshiping with their families, in their living room, on their couches, watching TV. Just get comfortable with that setting. And that's what we were doing too. My husband and I were leading from our couch. And another key part of that was we had our formal worship for our worship services that we recorded in that way, but then we also went live on Facebook once a week or every other week, and it was very, very informal. Mostly a jam session live on Facebook. We would share some verses, share some encouragement, a bit of what was going on in our lives and our hearts and why we were singing the songs that we were, and just further emphasizing to people that it's okay to just worship from your couch. God still hears your worship, and you are still worshiping in community with your church family that way. And so that helped us build good momentum for when we were able to meet in person and get our whole worship team back together again, and still leading people who were watching online while also leading our church gathered in person, and encouraging our people attending online that you are actually worshiping together with your church family, even though you aren't in the building with them. We are all still worshiping corporately, worshiping together. And so we've been riding that wave of momentum of equipping and encouraging people to worship in all circumstances. It's worked really well.
Yeah, one of the statements you made, Ariel, was that whole idea of breaking the barrier of the screen. And I think through the methods you just described, that was able to happen. So that's really great. I will offer, as a participant in worship, it was interesting when we came back together and we really had to go through a phased approach of limiting how many people could be, like how many vocalists could be on the stage, and putting tape on the floor to mark where they needed to stand so that we had social distancing in place, and all of these different things. Our team has done a great job navigating that. And so, Jim, I wonder if you would tell us a bit about how we used prayer to reach people for Jesus.
Sure. So we found during the lockdown that we had our own challenges as a prayer team, in that we didn't have the participation and the prayer requests coming in as we had before the lockdown, based on connect cards and ways to reach people. And we also had really struggled with not being able to get together to pray together. So we decided we made a Facebook group, and the core prayer warriors from our church got together on that Facebook group, and it was really beneficial because we were able to pray in the moment and on that instant. And when someone called or someone sent a message that they needed prayer, we were able to pray right then. And I really feel that was powerful in the fact that we didn't have to wait for an email to go out, or we didn't have to wait for, like a list of prayers. We were literally able to just pray right when it came in and pray together as a team. And that was awesome. And we still, to this day, continue to use that Facebook group to pray for each other. And to keep in contact with each other when prayers come in throughout the week. We did send up a Facebook page where we were able to take prayer requests. And we also encourage people to go ahead and send prayer requests through Messenger to our Facebook page as a church. So that was ways that people were able to get a hold of us. Also, another thing that I had done was going online and going live on Facebook, and having that time to just open that up to anybody who would like to join me in praying, whether it be for them, for someone else, if they wanted to be there just to be involved in praying for whoever may put a prayer request in there. And what was really cool about that was we got to see people that weren't even part of our regular attenders who were joining us and asking for prayer or making comments, and it really was great because the amount of comments and things that we got was really encouraging, and we did some scripture and really just had that time to talk on there and pray with each other.
And Jim, I know you mentioned too that you would encourage people, even if they were interacting with the previously recorded video, that they could still drop comments and that the prayer team would go back and still lift up those comments.
Right, yeah. At any time that they watched it, they would be able to put in a comment. And Facebook allows you to know when the comment was live and when the comment was not live. So you are able to go back and see, okay, these comments came in after I had gone offline, and so then those got sent to the prayer team, and we prayed for those when we got to them.
Yeah, the follow-through is such an important point.
Yep.
So thank you for that. And now, John, I wonder if you'd tell us a bit about Chaplaincy.
Sure. The Chaplaincy is a brand new ministry opportunity for Cvfree. We have currently started working with Norwich Fire Department and Police Department to model this program to see what it is going to look like. This is a ministry that is based on presence and building relationships. And so in this initial stages, it's really about being there, to be present, to meet people, to build rapport, to be able to create these relationships that over time will give us an opportunity to share the news of Jesus Christ. But in the initial stages, it's really about coming alongside our community service members to be able to resource them, to find ways that we can help them with the issues that they're facing. We live in such a world of division right now, and with the COVID and the responses that they've had to take to be able to work in the community, it's really an opportunity for us to come alongside of them, to be able to ask the tough questions. What can we do to help? Can we help your families? Can we help the companies? And can we just be allowed to do this walk with you in hopes that something beautiful can come out of it?
Yeah, and ultimately that beautiful thing would be a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so we thank you for joining us in this snapshot of Cvfree in a new season of reaching people. Thank you.